Today we are biking to an island and we are not taking a bridge to get there.
And we are not talking about any old Florida island. In fact, the beach on this island was recently rated the #1 beach in all of Florida.
Now we are talking about Caladesi Island, which has landed on Dr. Beach's list of top 10 beaches in America for the past 9 years. And in 2023 and 2024, it was Florida's highest ranked beach and the #4 beach in the entire United States.
In this episode, we're going to show you why Caladesi Island truly is one of the best beaches in America, and we're going to show you how you can get there without a boat.
Now, while our day on Caladesi was filled with beautiful beachfront views, it was also filled with storms, mosquitoes, and a couple other obstacles which we'll tell you more about later. But for now, let's pick up where this island adventure started.
So we got to this lot about 9 o'clock in the morning, and as you can see, there's still a lot of empty spaces available. Now by parking here, we will have to ride about an extra mile on our bikes versus if we were to park in one of the public lots right by the beach, but I think they charge like $3 or $4 an hour in those lots, and we plan to be gone at least 4 hours today, so probably will save us 15 to 20 bucks, which I'd say is definitely worth it.
Getting the bikes out.
I think these do weigh about 65 pounds.
Let's see if I can get the other one out. Yeah, let's see if I can do it. Yeah.
All right. Feeling strong this morning?
And now I don't know what to do with it.
You need help?
I'll get there just slowly.
Now we'll see if you can get one back in after a day of riding.
I don't know about that. We've got power.
Good to go.
While Skylar gets some shots of the bikes, I will be putting on my sunscreen because I will definitely need it today.
So we got our bikes packed up and are ready to go. We got to ride about a half mile that way towards the beach, and then we're going to be going north along the beach about 2.5 miles all the way to Caladesi Island.
The breeze feels really nice, but I'm sure that later today it's going to be very hot on the beach.
As we make the mile or so ride to the beach, we want to know if you've ever visited Caladesi Island. If so, let us know how you got there and what you thought of it in the comments.
We made it to the beach here at Pier 60, which is where the fun part of this journey begins. And as you can see, I'm already sweating through my shirt. It's hot out, it's probably 90 degrees, and it's only around 9:30 in the morning. From here, we have a little under a 3-mile ride up the beach to Caladesi Island. Now, we have ridden these bikes on some pretty rough terrain before and also up some pretty steep hills, but we've yet to ride them in the sand, so it'll be really interesting to see how they perform.
So it isn't the easiest pushing the bike through the sand because up here it's pretty powdery, but Skylar says if you use the accelerator a little bit, it helps out quite a bit. We've made it down to the packed sand and it is much easier to push the bike. So the beach is a little bit busier than what we were anticipating this early. It does clear up that way, but I think we're gonna find some packed sand up over here to ride for a little bit.
So we made it to the area where we're going to try to ride for the next mile or so. It's not nearly as packed as it is down by the beach, but as you can see, there's not nearly as many people either. Now, thankfully, these bikes are rated at a range of like 35 to 50 miles, and we're only going to be riding around 10 miles or so today, so we shouldn't have to worry about our batteries running out. So we've ridden maybe 100 yards or so in this pretty deep sand. So far, I'm really impressed with how these bikes are performing. I had an idea that they perform pretty well because they do have really wide tires with good tread on them, but I'm a little surprised how smoothly they go through the sand. We've only been using the #1 lowest level of battery support, and we haven't had to put hardly any effort into our pedaling at all.
After our first few minutes of biking down the beach, everything was going to plan until we met this guy. Thankfully, this lifeguard was friendly and helpful and explained to us that we shouldn't have any issues riding our bikes on the less trafficked area a bit further to the north.
So we made it to the section of the beach just past Lifeguard Station 7, which we didn't realize before, but is actually a really important landmark here on the beach when you're riding bikes. I'll let Jamie tell you a little about that in a bit. Now that we've made it further north on this beach, the crowds have lightened up significantly, and we can now actually ride down by the water where the sand is packed.
So we learned something very important today about Clearwater Beach, thanks to some very nice lifeguards out here. So you are not allowed to ride bikes south of Lifeguard Station 7. The good thing is there are other public beach accesses that you can ride your bike to access the beach to ride it to Caladesi. Now on our way, we will show you the very northernmost public beach access that you can use.
So Jamie promised you that we'd show you the northernmost beach access, and we think this is it. It's at the intersection of Laurel and El Dorado. So if you are trying to keep your actual biking on the beach to a minimum, we would recommend riding the streets all the way north to this access.
Or better yet, this one.
Now once you get past the public beach areas over there, the sand gets much bumpier, and even though the bikes did get us through the sand with the pedal assist, I did start to fishtail a little bit, so I'd recommend getting down to the packed sand as soon as possible. We're not even a mile into this trip and Skylar already had to hop in the water to cool down, and it's only 10:30, but it's already very hot. Now we are only about 30 minutes from low tide, and we were hoping to be at Caladesi by low tide, so we got to get going. Are you feeling better now?
So much better.
So Skylar said he didn't have a lot of energy today and he wouldn't be pedaling much, and he wasn't lying because he is not pedaling at all right now. This packed stand is really nice for riding on. So it's right around low tide right now. We're not quite yet to the state park, but here's why we would recommend coming when the tide is going out. Because you see all these mangrove areas behind me? There's some even further in the distance there, that during high tide, there is water that comes all the way up here. So if you're just walking and you're okay walking through the water, it's not that big a deal. But if you do have a bike, it makes it much more challenging to get back.
I was trying to find the shells to put on the trees, but all I could find were these two. Actually, this one does have a little hole in it, so I think it'll work. Yeah, perfect.
So just beyond this first little mangrove area, we found an even better shell tree, and there's a little bench. Now, if you're not familiar with this area and are wondering how the heck you can bike to an island, I'm going to tell you a little bit about Caladesi Island. Now, unfortunately, it is no longer a true island. There used to be a pass, I believe it was Dunedin Pass, that separated Caladesi Island and Clearwater Beach. But Hurricane Elena in 1985 came through and completely closed the pass. So now there is a beach that you can walk or bike in between Clearwater Beach and Caladesi Island. Now, some of you may have noticed that I pronounce the island Caladesi and Skylar pronounces it Caladesi. We have heard it both ways throughout the years. So if any of you know what the correct way is, let us know in the comments. All right, so we have made it to the state park, but we still have to go quite a ways to make it to the ranger station. So we can go in person, or you can scan that QR code. So because bikes aren't allowed on the beach, we are ditching our bikes here for a moment, and we are gonna walk towards the state park. This is another area that during high tide is underwater. So again, we would recommend checking the tides, and you still can come and walk it during high tide, but just be aware that you will walk through a lot more water. Got a pelican gang coming in.
Now, every once in a while, making these videos just doesn't go as planned, and sometimes that's due to bad luck, but honestly, more often than not, it's due to bad planning. And this time was definitely due to bad planning. Now, I actually planned this video over a year ago, but then Jamie developed her sciatica problems and wasn't able to ride a bike for a long time. So this trip got severely delayed. We finally got around to making this video here in July of 2024, but it appears some rules have changed since I did my research. As Jamie mentioned earlier, you're not even allowed to ride bikes on Clearwater Beach south of Lifeguard Station 7 now. And we also realized when we got to the border of Caladesi that you're not even allowed to have bikes on Caladesi Island at all. So as a result, we had to ditch our bikes, and now we're walking a mile just to get to the section where you'll find the concessions. But I guess if our punishment for lack of adequate preparation is that we have to walk a mile on this beautiful, secluded feeling beach, we can't complain too much. So there was 0% chance of rain in the forecast this morning, yet here we are in the pouring rain. As you can see, there is one pretty dark cloud above us, but thankfully it is pretty small, so we don't expect this storm to last too long.
We made it to the main beach area here on the island. There is a place where you can rent chairs and umbrellas, or you can also bring your own. I was hoping to be able to show you what the sand is like, but because it just rained, it's pretty packed and wet right now. There is a boardwalk that goes to the other amenities, which we'll show you, so we'll check out the sand when we get back. What are you doing up here?
So when we got caught in that rainstorm, I realized the GoPro was not in a waterproof case, so I wanted to get the GoPro out of the rain, and I put it in my shoe, and it turned out my shoe was full of sand, so now the GoPro case is full of sand, so I'm trying to get the sand out of it.
It's been a great day.
So as you can see, this boardwalk path is in really good shape, and it does lead to some restrooms as well as a rinse-off station. And if you continue down the path, we're pretty sure it goes to a concession stand. Now, we did visit this area a few years back, but we hardly remember any of it. We definitely don't remember visiting the concession stand. We think it may have been closed due to COVID at that time, but we are going to check it out now. We'll see if it's open and what it has to offer.
So everybody that we have passed on this trail has been going like this and saying that the bugs are swarming, probably because it's right after it rained. And of course, we did not bring the bug spray because we were poor planners today, so we were trying to make it through this area fast. Oh yeah, I'm feeling them now. Ooh, that one got me. Okay, we finally found the concessions area. Thank goodness, because these bugs are bad. Bring bug spray.
I looked down and there was like 5 mosquitoes on my arm at once. It was terrible. Now the prices aren't terrible. They are a little bit high, but that's what you got to expect on an uninhabited island. Ultimately, we just decided to get a Gatorade, which was $5.
The ranger station is in the same building as the concession. If you go down here all the way on the corner, if you don't use the QR code today, you go in this door to pay your fee. And right across from here is also where the ferry will take you to and from Honeymoon Island. A lot of people choose to take the ferry instead of walk or bike here. It is more expensive, but it's a lot easier and more relaxing. Here's another group just arriving to the island.
While the concession stand is open, we decided to just get a Gatorade because there are still some mosquitoes here, and we didn't figure we'd enjoy eating our food too much while we're getting bitten up. Plus, we stopped by a coffee shop on the way out to Clearwater Beach. It was really delicious. We'll show you a little bit of that footage right now. What you get?
This is their blueberry lavender croissant.
So on our way to Clearwater Beach this morning, we wanted to find a place to stop by and get some coffee. We found this little place. It's only a couple miles from Clearwater Beach. It seems to be fairly new. It didn't have a ton of reviews, but when we got here, we were really impressed. It had a whole bunch of antiques and it had some chandeliers inside. It was very French inspired, and we love French bakeries. And even better, they have this outdoor seating area with a giant tree in the middle. I made myself a bigger bite than expected.
Well, is it as good as it looks?
Yeah, that's very good. The cream is not as sweet as I expected it to be, which is good. I'd say it has a good balance.
In addition to the blueberry lavender croissant, we also decided to share this large latte. It is huge and I am tired, so I'm gonna try this first. It's very strong and very smooth, not too sweet at all. Pretty much exactly how I like it. So we were hoping to show you a little bit of the trail between the beach and the concession stand, but as we mentioned earlier, it is full of mosquitoes, so on our way back, we're definitely going to be running through it again, but I'll try to show you a little footage. So they do have a water fountain here outside the concession stand, and the water that comes out of it is actually quite cold. All right, here we go. Wish us luck. All right, so that actually wasn't so bad. If you stay moving, the mosquitoes don't swarm you too bad. Did they get you?
No, not this time.
Yeah, I think as long as you stay moving, they're not that bad, right?
Yeah, they stayed moving the whole time. This is a more natural beach, but the sand is still really soft.
Now, despite not being able to ride our bikes nearly as much as we anticipated, getting stuck in a bit of a rainstorm, and encountering the worst swarms of mosquitoes we've ever experienced, this still turned out to be a pretty good day because look at this place. But because we weren't able to ride our bikes as much as we expected and we had to walk more, we're not going to be able to get to the far north end of the island. But we do know you can rent paddleboards and kayaks on the Dunedin Causeway on the way to Honeymoon Island. And that's something we've been talking about doing for a while now. So if that's an experience you'd like to see on one of our channels, let us know in the comments and hopefully we'll eventually get around to it.
So the wind has really picked up here and there are some storm clouds coming. I'm kind of worried that we're going to get caught in a rainstorm, so we're going to get heading back.
So the weatherman was way off today. It's once again starting to rain. The wind's really picked up. As you can see, most of the people here on the beach are starting to pack up. And we're just hoping we don't get poured on the whole way back.
So right now we are in between two rainstorms. There's one like behind me and one up here. So hopefully as we move, they move and we stay pretty dry.
So you can tell Jamie is really nervous about this storm because she is walking really fast. She's about a quarter mile up ahead of me. I guess I better go catch up. So even though the sun is shining right now, there are some pretty dark clouds in basically every direction. It's a pretty typical summer day in Florida, honestly, but it just goes to show that even when the weatherman is saying there's no chance of rain, do not believe him in Florida in the summer.
Now this area that was completely dry when we were coming here is already getting pretty wet. And it's still several hours before high tide. So keep that in mind if you're planning to walk or bike to Caladesi. Woo, but the water does feel good.
As we continue to make our way back to our bikes, we want to thank you for coming along with us today. And if you're new to the channel, we invite you to subscribe. We're Jamie and Skylar, and we hope you join us back here for more Florida travel adventures.
So in a way, it might have been a good thing that we had to leave our bikes back at the entrance to the park because as you can see, the tides have risen quite a bit. Where we would have just ridden through this area on the way over here, we now would have to find a new route back. We'd either have to push and carry our bikes through all of those branches over there, or else we'd have to go this way and potentially go through like a foot of water. So either way wouldn't have been ideal. So now that we've almost made it back to our bikes, I do want to mention that this is probably our 5th or 6th time out on Caladesi, and we absolutely see why Dr. Beach consistently ranks it as one of the best beaches in America, just due to its natural beauty alone. But as we showed you in this video, it is a bit of a pain in the to get to if you're trying to walk or bike there. You do have the option of taking a ferry, but that costs money. You can also take a kayak or a paddleboard, but that's quite a bit of effort as well. So if you prioritize ease of access on your beach experience or amenities, this may not be the best beach for you.
So we made it back to the park entrance. Our bikes are still here. We did not get rained on yet, but some of the clouds are getting darker, and in the distance we've heard some thunder rumbling. So we are going to book it back to Clearwater and find somewhere to eat. It is really nice to get back out on these bikes. I know a lot of people have been asking, when are you going to do something with your e-bikes again? And we didn't have an answer, and today is the day. So hopefully more to come. How you doing back there?
Just enjoying the ride.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Now for those of you who have been around for a while, you might remember our fiasco on Don Pedro Island when we rented bikes there. Now today did not go near as bad as that day. I think Skylar lost his phone in the sand and had to go back and look for it. I think our chains fell off the bikes. It was also super windy and we were sandblasted so hard that we had to push our bikes back. And what a crazy day.
So the sand on the path leading back to the street is very deep, so we have been having to push our bikes this little bit, but we're almost back to the pavement and then it'll be easy riding.
So we did find Beach Access 1, which is just north of the access that we showed you earlier. It is Juniper and El Dorado. Now there are places to lock up your bike or a scooter, but there aren't any places to park a vehicle.
So here on the sign for Beach Access number 1, Jamie did notice that there is actually a no biking sign, and that leaves us a little bit confused because the lifeguards did tell us we wouldn't have any issues riding our bikes on the beach to the north of Tower 7, but this sign clearly indicates that it's not permitted. But honestly, the distance from this access access here to the south end of Caladesi is probably less than a mile. It really doesn't save you that much time biking there, plus there's nowhere to park your bike out there. So our recommendation would probably be just to ride to this access point, park your bike here, and then walk to Caladesi.
So we made it back and we used a lot of pedal assist today, but I would say our batteries, at least my battery's doing really good. How's yours?
I only lost 1 bar, I think.
Yeah, I only lost a baby bar.
Yeah. So considering we drove like 5 miles today and probably half of it was in sand, I think the fact that we only lost about 20% of our battery is pretty good. All right, Jamie, being the independent woman that she is, decided she is gonna fold up her bike herself and try to put it in the vehicle.
I'm gonna roll it closer first.
Ah, that's smart. All right. Yeah, just rest those tires on the back bumper. There you go. Dang, guys, I think she's gonna do it.
Oh, man, a few months ago, I wouldn't have been able to do that with my back, but it's getting strong now. And our nice cushion. Let's get out of here.
All right.
Oh, this AC is blowing right in my face right now, and it feels so good. We are back in the car. We're leaving Clearwater Beach. We have our e-bikes all packed up back there. Now, we had intentions of finding a place to have an early dinner, but I think once we got back into the car, we realized just how sandy and sweaty we are, and a cold shower sounded so much better. Now, if after watching this episode today, you're still interested in walking or biking to Caladesi Island, then you're gonna have to go through Clearwater Beach to do it, and you might be interested in some other things to do in that area, so we'd recommend watching this video next. Thanks for watching. So we were able to keep the bikes out of the salt water for the most part, but because we were on the beach right next to the salt water, we do want to make sure to rinse them off with fresh water.